All right, my beautiful friends and gems, we are here right now, and let's see, we've got someone else joining us here. Welcome, Joanne, Libbie, Carol, and Dion. Thank you, Dion, for joining. Libbie, Carol, and Joanne. We're getting started here, and so let's dive in deep into the deep end of the pool and learn about this life-saving technology. So let's get started here, and I believe you can all see my screen. Welcome to our stem cell activation patches, and we love to look vibrant, feel great, enjoy life as we age. I'm your host, Dame Lillian Walker, and I'm a holistic care practitioner that uses stem cell activation as a tool to help people repair and regenerate their bodies. And in short order, basically to unring the bell of whatever damage or whatever toxification they may have experienced as a result of any one of many possibilities. Does that make sense? So today I want to ask you, what if you could change the trajectory of aging? And what if you could be a younger, more youthful you? What could you do with that? There's a lot of things we could do if we had more youth, more vitality, more energy, and more strength. Like Allie, who was in her early 30s, she lives a healthy lifestyle. She's loves yoga. She loves to travel. I can relate to that because I love those two things. But she started noticing some changes, and she noticed that she couldn't stay out all night and, dance and have a great time. And she was concerned about staying youthful and preserving her health, right? And she was also experiencing a lot more job pressure, more demands, more requirements on her time. And she felt more fatigued and taxed as a result of that. And some days she felt very anxious and very hurried. And she doesn't like using drugs because, that yoga lifestyle keeps us in the organic, holistic realm of things where you don't even want to take over-the-counter meds. Like myself, I don't even like to take Tylenol because I always said in my 20s, right now they're saying everything is okay, but 20, 30, 40 years from now, they're going to say it causes brain tumors, it causes this, that, and whatnot. And lo and behold, about 10 years ago, one of my mentors disclosed that Tylenol actually is the leading cause of kidney failure, not only in the United States, but also in Europe. In Europe, it's known as paracetamol. It's also the #1 cause of overdoses in children. Can you imagine that? But we never hear that, right? You do a little research, you'll find the information about that. It's really quite alarming. So I'm knock on wood. I'm glad that I don't really never taken Tylenol. If I've taken it once or twice, it's probably a lot in an entire lifetime. Now we have here Dr. Stacy, who here she is in her late 40s, lives a healthy lifestyle. I personally know her. She's my business partner. She's been doing parasite cleanses and detox baths and detox cleanses since she was 18 years old. Always been fit and, working out, and started off as a teacher, and she loves her family. She loves teaching. She loves to travel, and she feels amazing. And she was focusing on prevention when she started on the patches for herself. And longevity, of course, is a priority. She's the mother of 2 and a wonderful husband, dear friend of mine, Brent. And she's always learning new ways to stay healthy. And vitality and overall wellness for her life is a way of living and a way of being for her. And then let's talk about Carla. Carla is in her mid-50s, loves being active, loves spending time with her beautiful, gorgeous granddaughter. But she started noticing some changes too. She noticed that, where she didn't have any issues before, now she's got some little aches and pains and things aren't quite the same. And she noticed that she gets a little more fatigued, gaining some weight, not sleeping so well. That is actually at epidemic proportions throughout our country. People not sleeping well, the insomnia. There are reasons for that too. We have in a recent survey, they had a group of high school students, and they found that 80 to 85% of the students in high school have insomnia. Imagine that. Something that used to just plague 50, 60, 70-year-olds is now plaguing junior high as well as high school students. 8 out of 10. That's a very alarming rate, in my opinion.
Yes, it is. It's very bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it is alarming because when you have insomnia, a long-term insomnia, that's one of the precursors for dementia and Alzheimer's. So if you're already starting to have the symptoms at that early of an age, that means that, unfortunately, we're already starting to see people in their late 20s and 30s with signs of dementia and Alzheimer's, which is very disturbing. The good news is that you can unring the bell of that damage with these patches. So the other thing that Carla was experiencing was, in addition to not sleeping well, was back pain, and was looking and feeling older and more tired. And when she would go to her doctor had very few answers for her and just say, you know what, well, you are getting older, which is true. Even a 1 day old baby on day 2 is a day older. So everybody experiences aging from conception until we take our last breath. Wouldn't you agree? But he would tell her, you're just getting older and let's run some tests. And of course, he would offer prescription drugs to kind of take care of some of masking the aches, the fatigue, etc. And she was wondering, can I ever look and feel and experience vitality like I did when I was once younger? And it was a yearning of her heart, which I think is a human instinct that we all have. She's not unique in that, right? Men and women alike. Speaking of men, we have Ben. In his mid-60s, loves being active, an active runner, jogger, hiker, looking forward to his retirement and to traveling. And he started also noticing changes, like all of a sudden, he would finish a run, or during the last part of his run, notice some aches and pains, and was experiencing, much to his surprise, a decreased libido. Considering that he was so active, that was very alarming, and not sleeping well either. And that knee pain was really, really bothersome. And his stamina was starting to ebb a little bit, and it was taking him longer to recover from his runs. And so he was starting to get concerned, maybe I have heart disease, maybe I need prescription meds, maybe I'm going to have to give in to, he tried to keep happy, whole, and healthy so that he wouldn't have to go down that train of, a laundry list of meds. But he was thinking, I might have to find out, and maybe I might have to start taking prescription medications. And it looks like he was talking to his doctor, and his doctor was saying, well, you might be a candidate for a knee replacement surgery, which he was kind of horrified, because just the thought of that whole process, the recovering from that, seemed more painful than what he was already experiencing. And so he was starting to ponder the idea, am I even going to be mobile, and am I going to be able to do all the things that I had dreamed about doing? I finally get to retirement and I want to travel all over the planet. Now I have the time and money to do both, but I may not have necessarily the health and the stamina. And so that was a very big concern. He's like, there's got to be a better way. And then a friend asked him, have you heard about this patch? What do you know about stem cells? Has anyone told you about these stem cell activation patches made by LifeWave? And he's like, I've never heard of such a thing. Are you aware that as you age, from conception until you get to 30 years of age, did you know that 30%, actually, when you're 30 years old, 50% of your stem cells turn off? They don't disappear, they're not damaged, they're not destroyed. They simply go dormant. And if you fast line the timeline a few decades more, 30 years old, 40, 50, 60, when you get to 60 years of age, 90% of your stem cells turn off. Only 10% are left of your stem cells. So now that 10% has to shoulder the work, the remodeling job that they've been doing from conception until now. Now only 10% are left to shoulder the work of what used to be that of 100. And that's going to take you all the way to your finish line until you take your last breath. And so you have declining stem cells as you age until you apply a stem cell activation patch. And what are the alternatives to get stem cells? Well, there are stem cells injections, of course. Many have heard of stem cell injections. They're very expensive. They're painful. They're not always effective. Why aren't they always effective? Well, oftentimes a great number of people will get stem cells that are donor stem cells from either placentas, umbilical cords, or from aborted fetuses, where we're not going to talk about the moral implications of that. But bear in mind, they're not your original stem cells. So you're having a donor. And so 50% of people, 50% accept all of those stem cells, and they have a success where things are repaired. And now there is a gamble that whatever you don't originally come programmed with, you're going to take that too, right? But 50% of the people realize the benefit. And then the other 50% of the people, your body sees that as a foreign invader, so it rejects it. And so you don't have any effect. So it's a 50-50 chance that it will work for you. Also depends on what age you are, because if you're 60 years old, you get those injections. And again, it's plus the only 10% that you have, plus that. And then if you're younger, of course, if you're in the 50% that's fortunate enough to accept those stem cells without any kind of negative effects, then you have that benefit too. It is invasive, it is painful because it's invading your body. There are possible, not side effects. I know here it says side effects, but they are direct effects. There's no guaranteed results. You can also get stem cells by IV. But what if there was an affordable alternative? Because by injection and by IV, I've had many patients and clients who have spent from $8,000 a session to as high as $25,000 a session. And you can get stem cell activation for a far more affordable cost. And instead of 8,000 to 25,000 a session, literally for the price of a cup, 1 or 2 cups of coffee a day, you can get started. So it's definitely far more affordable, but more importantly, it's more effective. Might you be interested? Well, most people say yes to that. So David Schmidt is our inventor. He's the visionary scientist. I love to say that he is a wonderful combination between Nikola Tesla, the inventor. He's the one who's responsible for a lot of our electronic devices to this very day. It's a combination of Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, and Steve Jobs, all woven into one. Then you get a David Schmidt. He is a brilliant master genius, in my opinion, and he's been inventing since he was a child. He has well over 150 patents, global patents, not just patents here in the United States. And back in over 20 years ago, 24 years ago to be exact, he was commissioned and put under contract by the Department of Defense. And he was inventing all sorts of different things for the Department of Defense. And then they approached him and said, hey, listen, David, is there a chance you could invent something for our Black Ops Navy SEALs? These SEALs, they're in these submarines 90 days at a time. They don't get any fresh air. They don't get any sunlight for 90 days. They're inside this pressurized capsule called a submarine. They're bombarded with LED lights 24/7, getting a lot of blue light toxicity, which we'll talk about here in a minute during this presentation as well. You may not be aware of all the things that biochemically happen to you when you are exposed with blue lights. And you're probably saying, well, I don't have blue lights in my house. Well, guess what? The very cell phone that you're watching this broadcast on, your laptop, your desktop, your notepad, your iPad, all of those have blue screens. And so your eyes are receiving blue light rays, and that causes insulin resistance. It causes inflammation inside of the body, and it destroys your DHEA fountain of youth hormone. Not to mention all the LED lights you have in your home, work, place of business, cars, trains, automobiles, boats, you name it. They all have LED lights. And so David, immediately being that he is a man of prayer and deep meditation, went into his prayer and meditative state, asking that effective question, if there was a way that I could activate and increase and enhance the energy of a human body, how would that be? Then he got a divine download. He took that information, ran to his lab, began testing, and lo and behold, the very first stem cell activation patch was born, and it's called the Energy Enhancer Patch. It does 3 things. Enhances your energy, first and foremost. Number 2, it regulates your heart rate variability. Basically, it makes your heart more elastic so that if you get high blood pressure, it won't stay stuck there. It'll make it malleable, flexible, stretchy, so it can respond to having a higher heart rate because you're running, because you have a fight or flight response, and then it'll make its way back down to normal where it's supposed to be. Or if it's too low because it's super cold, for example, because when you're cold, your vitals slow down, it'll go down, and then it has the ability to spring back where it should be again. Heart rate variability. And then the third thing is that it regulates your lymphatic system. Very powerful patch. So that was the birth of that patch. And the rest is history. Then in 2004, the 9/11 global event took place, and that was when the Department of Defense released David, where now he was free to extend his research, and he dedicated the next 10 years exclusively to stem cell activation research. He still does that research to this day, but he had 10 years where he was just deeply entrenched into stem cell research and reverse aging and so forth. And then 4 years ago, the mother stem cell activation patch was released to the public. This energy enhancer patch, in fact, was released to the public 20 years ago. So this is our 20th year. And so with this patch is what the company was launched, which is named LifeWave. So he developed a phototherapy energy technology for the US Navy SEALs, as I mentioned a second ago. He founded this company in 2004 called LifeWave, not Lightwave, not light anything else. It's LifeWave. Developed a suite of phototherapy products, laboratories and manufacturing in California and Ireland. In California, we have FDA registered facilities. This is an FDA Class 1 medical device. Our facilities in California are inspected every 2 years, and they are FDA registered. In Ireland, it's registered with the Irish Medicine Board, and we are ISO 9001 and ISO 13485 compliant. We've expanded over the last 20 years to 82 countries, the most recent being Korea just a couple of weeks ago. And we have 15 global distribution centers throughout the world, in addition to the one in California and in Ireland. And we have 8 global offices throughout the world as well. This is a patented phototherapy, not patent, coming. It's not patent pending. This is 120 patents that are already filed, stored, delivered globally. So it had to pass the scrutiny of 82 governments in order to have that status. It's a wearable light technology called photobiomodulation. You'll see that this young woman here, you see at the base of your neck, the top of your spine, that's governing vessel 14. That's where your brainstem branches out into your spinal column, signaling your spinal cord, and then it sends messages to the rest of your body to activate your stem cells. It's a very powerful traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture point. These patches use a very specific wavelength of light to activate stem cells without injections. It's safe. There's no drugs. There's over 80 clinical studies. In fact, there's over 90 clinical studies. It reduces pain and inflammation, and it speeds wound healing and increases tissue repair. When it comes to wound healing and tissue repair, it'll replace the tissue in the wound that's damaged with the original tissue. So if you have scars, it'll replace the scar tissue with the original tissue, so your scar will, in time, disappear. It shrinks, and it just lightens, and it is replaced over time. I, for sure, have benefited from that. So here's a few of our friends, a few of our patients who have been on these patches. And you'll see here, this gentleman pretty clearly, you can see that he's definitely rejuvenated from before and after just 8 weeks on the patches. Here we have a lady who on day 1, you can see what her face looked like, especially, her mouth and her jaws and her chin, as well as her neck. You can clearly see the improvement from the first day to the 30th day to 4.5 months of wearing just the 39 stem cell activation patch. Over here to our right, here is someone who broke several ribs. You'll see that he was working on rafters. In fact, this is sad, but many firemen experience this. This is really sad. Very, very painful. He fell through the ceiling, broke 6 ribs, punctured his lung. That's called a pneumothorax, had extreme pain. His expected recovery was 6 to 8 weeks. He was back to work in 3 weeks, and you can see all the internal bleeding. That's what bruising is. You have blood that's under the surface of the skin that accumulates, and then as it dries, it turns purple. And so you could see, it must have been horribly painful. You see from June 17th, here you have June 23rd, just a week later, and look at how much less bruising he has. So not only is the body repairing, obviously, the fractured ribs that he had and the tissue, but you also see that it's also detoxing his body, because that old blood doesn't need to linger around. Those are called senescent cells. They're just dead. They're not serving any purpose. So those need to be offloaded through urination, defecation, and perspiration. And you clearly see here, June 30th. So just 13 days after he started, what should have taken, what without patches would have taken him clearly 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes even longer, depending on the age of the person. 13 days later, not to mention he felt monumentally better. Back to work in 3 weeks. Imagine that. So here you have also a 6-year-old who had severed his finger. And you could see that in 2 months, he went from this to he has a fully restored fingertip, and the nail is included in that reparation and restoration. So exciting. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, here's a lady who was undergoing really severe radiation treatment, and her face was taking a toll. But you could see that it was not an easy thing for her to experience. But look at how quickly, from June 6th to June 23rd, so that's less than 3 weeks, she went from this to this. And by June 30th, you already have that rejuvenating effect that she's enjoying from being on these stem cell activation patches. I'm going to make sure I'm sharing my computer sound here. Okay, here's a gal who we had, 77 years old. And this is a brain scan that's actually showing you the decrease in inflammation inside the brain. Very powerful. Not often do we get to have a sneak peek, if you will, into what's going actually inside that brain bucket called a cranium, your scalp. And you can clearly see all the red here. It shows a significant amount of inflammation. Inflammation. In means inside. Inflammation comes from the word flame. So you have fire. That's what inflammation is. Wherever there's inflammation, your stem cells know that when there's inflammation, your stem cells know that there's damaged cells. And so that's signaling to your stem cells, oh, we got to go there to do that repair because there's inflammation. So this person has inflammation here. The second one, you'll see the inflammation is gone in session 2. No red. You just have blue, light blue, green, and yellow. And in here, you see another big increase in improvement, right? So she has decreased brain inflammation. She had improved memory, focus, and cognitive brain function. So the speed and the ease with which she could recall and say and speak and talk and do different brain tests that we do on individuals there was a very significant increase in that. And that's because these patches increase GHK2 copper peptide that supports your cell and nerve regeneration. Over here, we have also people experience better sleep because this patch puts you in deep REM state of sleep, which is what facilitates that GHK2 copper peptide production. Also gives you more energy. And here we have someone who had faster recovery thanks to the patches. He was able to climb another 14,000 feet peak. And it was 4 years since he was able to climb that because of a bad knee that he had that he no longer has. And so that's very exciting. Here we have the word's gotten out because, yes, we have a lot of athletes like Serena Williams, like David Beckham, Michael Phelps, when he won his 7 gold medals, he was on our patches. He was on energy enhancer. So you could see the energy enhancer patch here. Here we have triathletes. So we have a lot of professional athletes and Olympic athletes and collegiate athletes who are on these patches, not just people who have illnesses, conditions, syndromes, and maladies and infirmities, states of not well-being, right? So what if you could be a younger, more youthful you? What if? And would you like stem cell activation, greater energy, greater mental clarity, focus, brain processing speed, ease of recalling things and having it be there, right when you need it? How would you like faster wound healing, looking, feeling, being younger, increased muscle, bone, tissue, and nerve regeneration, and better sound or sleep? I sleep like a baby. I go to sleep and I go deep, and I don't wake up. I'm like, until I actually wake up first thing in the morning, it's a deep sound sleep and I'm refreshed. It is awesome. You can experience that too. And some of the people here on these patches here have been fortunate enough to already be, experiencing that and benefiting in that way. So if anything were possible, what is the one thing you would choose to experience differently with your health or in the health of someone perhaps that you love and that you care for? Seems like most of us know at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people who have different things that are going on. Things, they're on that train of pain where they've been looking, seeking, trying to find something that will give them relief, that will alleviate that pain, that will, and preferably not only alleviate the pain, but also repair it to restore your body so that your body actually improves and you're not having to continuously be in pain and getting worse as you get older. So let's talk about what this costs, because for the price of 1 cup of coffee a day, you can get started. If you do the Fantastic Five, which are the patches that take care of the primary systems of the body, you can do this for as much as the cost of 2 cups of coffee a day. So you can get a silver pack where you get, let's say, the mother and the daughter stem cell activation patch, and then you could do energy enhancer as an example, and you get a 4th patch because these are doctor wholesale packs. You could get a 4th patch for free. It could be any one of the supportive patches. We can customize the package based on what your personal needs are. So after you're done on this call, get back to the person who referred you to this video, to this broadcast, and we'll do a one-on-one with you, either that person or myself or whoever referred you, and we will help address whatever your concerns are. I am a big proponent of the Fantastic Five because that's the mother, the daughter, and then you have the 3 master antioxidants: glutathione, carnosine, and eon. If you want to learn about the Fantastic Five, you can join us again at 7 p.m. and you can do a further deep dive. That'll be closer to an hour where we get into the nitty-gritty of that. But you don't need to know what all the patches do now. What you do need to know is, how to get started. And so silver would be $2.99. Gold, the Fantastic Five, you would get the 5 that I just mentioned. You save, instead of paying $149 for each one of these, you could see with the silver pack, the cost of these 2 is $149 each. That's $300. But on a doctor wholesale pack, you'll save $49 each. It's about a 30% savings. And you actually get 3. You're paying for just 3 and you get a free one as a 4th. It's a tremendous value. So you're getting twice as much as you normally would. And then gold, you would get 5, but you get 3 free ones. That's $300 worth of free product. They always give doctors free products. So you're just being able to tap in now into that aspect because you're on this broadcast. And if you want to, we recommend you be on the patches for at least 12 months. Why do we recommend 12 months? The reason we recommend 12 months is that you have 56 trillion cells in the body. 56 trillion, not billion, trillion. Without being on the patches, 2 billion cells turn over every day. That's just normal MO. When you apply a stem cell activation patch anywhere on your body, that increases because you have 33% additional stem cells that are now replacing, restoring, and replacing any damaged cells you have there, resetting you based on your original playbook, because your stem cells are your master smart cells, right? With all of your programming. So now you have, let's say, just to make the math easy, let's say you're 60, 70, 80, you're over 60 years of age. So prior to patching, you have 10% of your stem cells that are doing its job. That's like your remodeling crew. And then you put a patch on, and now you have 43 to 50% of your stem cells. So now it's 4.3 more times, 430% more stem cells. So you can see how much more quickly you repair and restore your body. Over the next 12 months, the majority of those 56 trillion cells will turn over. And that's why you see the dramatic results, because people are wearing these patches 12 hours from morning, let's say 9 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. at night. You're signaling your body for 12 hours. Then you remove the patches wherever you have them. And then you're going to match those 12 hours that you signaled 33% repair. You're going to have your rest and digest matching 12 hours, which is nighttime. So your parasympathetic system is on at night. Your sympathetic nervous system is on during the day. So you're honoring the body's circadian rhythms and you're matching those 12 hours rest, repair, and restore. And then in the morning, you apply the patches back on again. And you're not like the Energizer Bunny, but your stem cells are like the Energizer Bunny, running all over. And your stem cells are smart. It knows it has to prioritize reparation of your heart. Anything going on in the heart, it's going to repair that first. Your liver, your brain. You only have one brain, only one liver. You only have one heart, right? You got two kidneys. It's going to repair those two because that's your filtering system along with your liver. But if you have anything else, if you have a bum knee, your heart's fine, your brain's fine, your liver's fine, or maybe you have heart and knee issues. A lot of people do. It's going to send the troops to your heart. It's going to send to your knee, and then it'll send the rest of the cells to the other places that are, not prioritized as number one for your vitality, but still need to be addressed. I hope that makes sense. Okay. If you're willing to buy 3 months in advance of the patches, you can see that this gold pack, 3 times 500 is 1,500. So then instead of 19 sleeves, they give you 10 free sleeves. That's that's over $1,000 worth of free product. So you will get this, basically you pay for 3 months, you would get 5. You could, in theory, also receive 19 months of just the X39. Again, we'll customize these based on what your personal needs are. So I want to see if any of you guys have any questions. Let's open this up for discussion. Dion, Libby, Carol, do you have any questions that I can answer for you at this time?
Not right this minute.
Okay. If anybody else has any other questions, and again, oftentimes people look at this and sometimes afterwards they're like, oh, I forgot to ask during the Zoom. Have no fear. That's, we're here to answer your questions. So I expect you to have questions for the rest of your life. If you're anything like me, there's going to be something that all of a sudden you're going to go, oh, you know what? I should ask this question. So you can reach me. You're on this broadcast. You either have my personal cell phone, the hotline, or you are connected to me on YouTube or Facebook or Telegram or WhatsApp. As you can see, I'm very accessible. I think my beautiful friend and Jem Carroll here, who has an incredible story when she started on the patches just Tuesday, August 8th, she started with her sister. Carol, do you want to take 5 minutes and share about the pain and the burden that you had that plagued you? Your whole life you were healthy, and then your husband died, and then for the first time in your life, you had this burden. Share with them your story.
I call it a broken heart. When you're married 58 years to the guy that you really care the most about, that's what I call broken heart for the first time ever. I mean, it's so long story short, I got down to 84 pounds and I only weighed 110. Lillian, you and I, we're not very tall and we're very thin, but I got down to a lot of these things happened. My body just shut down. I couldn't cook. I couldn't do anything. I just couldn't do things. I had to protect my heart. And I finally ended up going to a cardiologist and got I was afibrillation and all these things that they identified. And when I go to any medical situation with anybody, because I'm a caregiver as well, I ask questions. They don't tell me what I'm going to do unless I understand it. So we talked about it and what was going on and what I needed to do. And then my friend, when I got home, and I've done alternative things for years and years and years. Well, and then patches. She said, you ought to try these patches. Sure. I didn't know anything about them, but it made sense to me, these tiny little patches. And I put, I got it. I put that patch on, and my pulse was afibbing. And that means it was going all over the place. I mean, it was serious. It was seriously all over the place.
Exhausting.
And they want to insert a defibrillator, that kind of stuff. So I put the patch on. Within 10 minutes, my pulse was normal. And it's been normal ever since. So that even my doctor, even the doctors, they don't prescribe anything because I don't need it. And besides, I wouldn't take it anyway. And they even put in my records about the patches, and that I like the patches are helping me a great deal. And they are. They are. Now I had shingles and I had pain and neuropathy up here, and I put the patch there, and the neuropathy is very under control. My heart is like perfect, and I still use the patches. They're definitely, my body's getting more and more healthy. It's like, it's interesting to understand about stem cells, which I do, and how as they wake up, more and more parts of your body are waking up. It could be even my toe is waking up and saying, howdy. It's like, I can even run my chainsaw better.
Yeah, because so Carol had a significant decline because, as you can imagine, when your pump is not well, your energy is low, you have brain fog. She had that terrible shingles, and I'll never forget the first day that she was on the patches. She said that her scalp relaxed, and it was such a relief. It was a significant drop in pain level. Pain wasn't 100% gone, but it was a significant drop in pain level. And you're like, wow. Plus, her heart was no longer, when your heart's fibrillating, it's kind of like a fish going, like wiggling like this all in your heart. It was awful. And so now her heart's normalized. Third week, I recall really clearly, because one thing that happens when you're on these patches is that your memory, your focus, and brain processing speed goes through the roof. So you remember details really well. You don't try to remember, you just do.
Mm-hmm.
And in her
third week, you just all of a sudden, as time has gone on, I remember this, and oh yeah, I remember when I did that years ago. I'm 84. And so I remembered when I was 5, and 3. So I'm on track. These are good stuff. This is good stuff.
Carol, you're on track for the 120s like I want to be. You're 84, I'm 78, will be 79 in May. And honestly, all I can say is, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing.
It is. Yeah, the beautiful thing is people keep pointing at age. Well, I'm 84, but I can run a chainsaw and cut down trees.
Yes, and all wonderful.
She's very athletic. I don't look at myself as you have to get past the age thing, but now I say, oh, I'm 84. Catch me up,
Listen, Carol, basically, my biological age is 54.
Yeah.
Now, you possibly feel the same way. People don't understand that. I mean, I don't feel my age. This is just a number up here.
That's right.
And I'm so glad you're on this call tonight, because we're the...
Yeah. See, I even have my sweatshirt on that my grandson gave me as we do video games. My gaming sweatshirt.
Oh. Well, it's wonderful. Your story is amazing. And
I have fun.
What I'd like to share there's just 4 of us on here right now. So may I share a little bit about why I got in touch with you? I got in touch with Lillian because I got into a couple of her broadcasts. And I thought, this lady takes time, and she has got people that are sharing stories. And by that, of course, I looked at the first one and I thought, that was amazing. I'm thinking of the people that I know like this. The one that knocked me off my socks was the one she had where her friend that had HIV was cured.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a very dear friend. He's in his 60s. But I used to be in the wedding industry. We were photographers and videographers. Gary was into the floral, and we had the most wonderful times in those days. Then his HIV kicked up. It went, he was doing his thing. The next thing, his kidneys kicked up. The man goes 3 times a week for dialysis. And also, they're telling him now he needs a hip replacement. And he was
Oh.
supposed to be on this call today, but unfortunately, you know, you can't tell with these people if they
Well,
can make it or not.
Things happen, and we'll record this. I'll upload it to the YouTube so that you could send
Oh,
him.
super. That I would love that, because I would love to hear anything about, you know, anybody that wants to share something. Because Gary's father is in his 80s and he looks like he's in his 60s.
Really? Wow.
He's a very wealthy man. He was a pilot. I
Oh,
can't remember what airline he worked for. Now he has his own plane, flies all over the place, has properties here, properties there. So Gary's dad, Gary, I met him when he was here last time. I've only ever known him, but we had the best conversation. And he keeps saying, Gary should be doing more exercises and this and that. Well, what can I say? This man's 80 and he's digging up stuff and doing stuff, and he's an amazing man. I'm trying to get hold of him now. He's traveling
all over.
on one of the islands with his wife. And I'm trying to get hold of him because I wanted to introduce him to Lillian, because I feel the way that the way she shares from her heart, her knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't go into big explanations. She sticks to points that people can understand.
So true.
Thank
And
you.
Lillian, thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
I will, if I may, my upline is Dr. Stacy.
Yes, she's my partner. Yeah, Dr. Stacy.
Okay, well, my girlfriend from here is the one that introduced it to me about 4 months ago. So I've noticed a tremendous difference in my energy, in my sleep.
Yes.
I don't let things worry me. Well, I've never really done that. I'm a Scot. Scottish people don't worry about that sort of thing. But the thing
Yeah.
is, when you get hold of a bunch of women like here, you are amazing. And I'm into collecting lovely people. So you're going
Cute.
into my lovely
cute.
people box.
Yes.
This is so precious. And Lillian, if I may, keep in touch with you, even though I'm not bringing anything to you.
No, it's okay. We're here to save lives, Libby. You know, Dr. Stacy and I, we have the same philosophy. That's why.
Yes, she said that. And that's why I felt free in doing this with you.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it's just, this is what we have to do.
Saving lives, saving souls. This is what we do. And no one is so special that this technology doesn't work on them. It doesn't matter if it's a human being or a mammal. It works on all of them. And so we are passionate about spreading this message, spreading this word. I'm passionate, like Dr. Stacy. You know, she's an educator. She's a double PhD. So we want to share and we want to facilitate. My personal mission statement is to facilitate, educate, encourage, and empower people.
That's right.
Better informed choices. They take ownership. And I really like to teach people to pay attention to feeling what it is that's going on in their body, because you are the expert on your body.
Right.
Right.
Felt everything from the time your mother's ovum and your father's sperm united and you were conceived at conception. You felt everything from now until the end. There's no expert with 20 PhDs that is more of an expert on you than you. And so you're the one who's going to feel the effects. You're the one who's going to get the benefit, making a good informed choice, or the consequence of not doing anything. And so the power is all within you. And so the more I can teach, train, and educate you on that, and for you to gain confidence going, oh yeah, I noticed that my body goes forward saying, move forward with this, or my body's going, oh, you know, oat milk. I thought oat milk all this time was good for me. And not because Lillian says or a study says, but my body's going, get away from that.
A question to all of you.
What
When you mention, you know, when this is mentioned to people, what have you heard about stem cell technology? What sort of responses do you get? If I ask,
My
let's say
doctor said, told me, he said, you know more than any of my patients. I said, so do I.
Carol, I would love to put you together with a dear friend of mine. It was and she is going to their doctors and doing all things right now. They're in their 80s. She's getting now a new heart specialist because they don't feel the first one was doing the right yet. And they don't know if his mind is going right, but they've been on X39 and Eon for, I think this is the 3rd month. Anne is feeling the difference.
Good.
She said, I'm not really seeing anything, feeling it. I said, Anne, you've got more energy. You're saying little things to me. Well, I don't know what's going on with my body, but something's happening.
Something is. Yeah.
I should try and get her onto this call where
Yes.
you're on together, because I think it would be good for her. She always says to me, she's always saying, Libbie, I need to know about how this X39 works and how this Eon works before I can go anywhere else. I said,
Here's what I would tell her.
Okay,
Don't
Carol,
worry about it. Just
I've
talk to
already
Lillian.
told her.
Talk to Lillian.
Well, I'll
Talk
tell
to
her.
Lillian.
I'll tell her.
And
Talk
getting
to
on
Lillian. I turned everything over to Lillian, and
Same
she
here.
helped
She's
me
amazing.
starting,
She is
and it
yeah, that's why I'm here.
because we all want to think we need to know everything. We don't need to know everything.
We don't. You're right.
Now it's starting to unfold where things are waking up and coming to me.
Mm-hmm.
We assume because, oh, I didn't feel anything. Well, what are you supposed to feel? Maybe your
Everybody's
toe was
different.
doing better. You know, you put your shoes on better, but do you think about maybe it's your stem cells are waking up? No, we don't.
Well, it's like when somebody gets born again and they say, I don't feel anything.
That's right.
So true.
Bring him on, and I'll do a chainsaw demonstration.
Oh my gosh, I believe you. I believe
Got a
you.
big chainsaw.
So my friends and gems, we're here almost at the top of the hour. Libbie, you have been delightful. I'm astonished to hear that you're 78 because you definitely do
No,
not
she
look
does not.
78. Oh my gosh, and you have the spirit of a 30-year-old for sure. I love your chutzpah. And yes, so I'm here every day, Monday through Saturday at 2 p.m. And then
Super.
at 7 p.m., we go deeper. Carol will tell you we go into a deep dive. I do the Fantastic Five. Your friend would be well advised to add to her 39 and to her Eon. Really, carnosine is all things cardiovascular, since we put Carol from the get-go 4 of the 5 of the Fantastic Five. And then she added glutathione like the second month. And so we can ease you into it, but really, she really does need to be on carnosine as well as the Eon patch, reducing, the inflammation, but it also balances your left and right brain hemisphere. When people watch, let's say the 7 o'clock Zoom that I do, they start to ascribe a meaning, understanding what each patch does, and they understand how important it is. Not to say you're going to pay the price either way. You either pay the price of getting the patches. We can bring the price down to almost 50%, on these patches, as you can see here from our pricing. But the bottom line is you're going to pay the price for the patches and improve your wellness, or you're going to pay the price by saving the money, keeping that in the bank, and then pay the price of pain, because you're not going to get what your body needs. And you're not going to need it forever. Although many of us on the patches, once everything's repaired, we're like, well, why would I want to signal less of my body? Why would I allow it to age faster than it needs to? I'd rather have that extra. That's a personal choice, right? But the bottom line is that you can get relief. You can get reparation and restoration. It doesn't take a decade. It doesn't take 5 years. It doesn't take 3 years. It could take 6 months. It could take a year. It could take a year and a half. I've had people with multiple forms of cancer, like Bob Campbell. Bob Campbell had prostate cancer. He had horrible skin cancer. He was covered with lesions all over his body. horrible skin cancer. He also had plantar fasciitis.
Are these all recorded?
Yes, I always record these. So they're always on my
Super.
YouTube channel. So if you go to Love and Money Secrets TV on YouTube, or
Give this to me again. Love and
Love,
Money.
I'll type it here on the chat. It's Love and Money Secret TV. I'm typing it here in the chat. And I also have a URL, damelillianwalker.com, that points to that YouTube channel. Waiting room participants.
I can't see anything come up on the messages yet.
I'm
I
not
just
sure.
went in there.
Waiting room. I don't know why it says waiting room, because you guys are clearly not on the waiting room. But
Just say it to me again, and I'll write it
yeah,
down.
Love. This is like a glitch in Zoom right now. I've never had. Yeah, so Love and Money Secrets TV.
Love and Money
Secrets TV.
Secret
TV.
TV. Okay.
If you just enter into your browser, Dame, my name here, which you can see here, Dame Lillian Walker, and then add.com, it goes to my YouTube channel.
Lillian, I thought that was Dame Lillian Walker.
It is Dame, D-A-M-E.
Yeah, you're a dame.
I'm a dame.
Yeah, but an English dame.
An English dame. I'm also a lady.
Are you a Scottish lady? I mean, do you have the lady in your title in Scotland?
I do. I don't use it, but I also have the title lady. My daughter does too, and my boys are both lords, because
Yes, why
own
not?
a little bit of land in Scotland, then you get those titles. I don't use them though. But Dame, I got admonished by Her Excellency Countess Babrinskoy, so I started
Have
using.
you been over there?
I have.
Well, we'll leave that for another time. We'll
Yeah,
leave
that's
that
another.
for-
That's a long story. We don't need to get into.
Yeah, we'll leave that for.
But if you don't use a title, you get scolded, and I don't like getting scolded. So you're supposed to,
No, they like you to use your title.
I like you
I
to
have
use
good
your title.
friends that are ladies.
And it is tied with what I do, because the order is it's an 1100-year-old order
Mhm.
of basically hospitalers. They're the first nobles that
Right, that's
built
true, yes.
that they were the first ones who built hospitals, because hospitals used to be, healthcare was only available to the nobles.
That's right.
1100 years ago, a group of nobles got together to build hospitals so that men, women, and children, that all would have health care.
Mhm.
And so it has to do with providing health and well-being to everyone.
Yes, being from the Highlands of Scotland and having been born there and grew up there. I mean, they were a tardy bunch, those people over
They were
there.
a little bit, they were mavericks. They're so rebellious they wouldn't even accept the title rebels. They're mavericks,
Good.
totally relates
That's
to.
good.
Now we're like, wait a minute, no, everybody deserves to have access to healthcare, not just the elite. So, and today, obviously we have hospitals all over the world, but they're the order basically has doctors and holistic care practitioners. As soon as there's a tsunami, an earthquake, a tidal wave, any kind of natural disaster, they're literally sending them out, with some medical supplies and so it's very much in alignment with David Schmidt and with what he's doing with this technology. He spends quite a bit of funds and resources.
Sure.
People, whenever there's a natural disaster, he invented a drone that has a wingspan of.
He said that, yes, a drone that can, yeah.
And so that drone, now it doesn't matter that, FedEx or whatever conventional planes, it can carry almost 300 pounds, 285 pounds of patches. It can fly up to 21 hours, which is enough time to get anywhere in the world. And
Right.
so because we have brand partners, we have doctors, we have holistic care practitioners who are already there in 82 countries. He can deploy those drones because he has a fleet of them now. He deploys those as soon as we hear that there's, like what happened in, Acapulco, I think, was it Acapulco, that had that unexpected hurricane that came.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately they deploy the drones with that, and then they send out a message to all of the brand partners, doctors, and holistic care practitioners, because they're already there, right? So then they can apply the patches on the people who need them. They work closely with the American Red Cross and different organizations like that. So So the time, the money, and the delivery are a non-issue as far as we're concerned, and we already have the people on the ground to assist the local authorities. So
That's
it's
beautiful.
an extraordinary thing to be a part of. So we're
Yeah,
Definitely.
That's for sure.
wonderful.
all right, my beautiful friends and gems. It's been 56, 57 minutes. Libby, it was an absolute
I'm
delight.
sorry, it's my fault.
No, it's not. It's no one's fault. This is all a divine appointment. This is supposed to be exactly.
Amazing.
Someone is going to see your heart, my heart, Carol's heart, Dion's heart, and they're going to, this might be the only time they'll ever hear, and this might be the door that's opening for them.
Yeah.
And it really is a medium by which we can take.
Joe had to leave, and she just mentioned that.
It's okay. It's okay. Like I said, it's being recorded. So you can just go to damelillianwalker.com, my YouTube channel. You'll see it posted. I'll be uploading this as soon as we're done. And that's it for now.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
Susan.
my friends and gems, take care. Have a great one.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day too.